Frank Mugisha, living in Uganda, being a sexual minority, can you in short term describe how is your life?
I would say living in Uganda as a gay man myself, in one word, it is fear, full of fear. Because I cannot just be like any other ordinary person in Uganda who will get out of their house and just go to the market nearby and buy things or use the same street or even use public transport. I have to avoid places that are so crowded.
Who are these people that you are afraid of?
I'm afraid of the people who walk the streets every day with me. I'm afraid of my own people. In a normal day for me, say the worst scenario, I could get killed. But I could also get beaten, or I could get harassed. Sometimes I have to run, you know? You reach a place and you can't get any further, so you have to run. The recent time I was harassed is I was invited in a restaurant by someone I know. One of the person who was very vocal, talkative, started saying that, you know, how can you be a homosexual? How do you ashame people who know you like us that you're a homosexual? And then other people started moving around to join in beating me. And I got so scared because now the mob was increasing. And people thought maybe I had done something wrong, or I had insulted someone, that's why they are beating me. But when people came and they heard that I'm a homosexual, so they said, oh, this one, we should just kill him and murder him.
Is there nobody in these situations that are protecting you?
The only time I've had protection is when my colleague was murdered. I approached one of the international human rights organizations, and they gave me someone to stay with me for 2 weeks, 14 days. My friend who was murdered was called David Kato, and he was the litigation and advocacy officer at Sexual Minorities Uganda, SMAG, the organization that I had. When I would tell him that, you know, David, I think if I go for that meeting, I'm scared that I could be harassed and attacked. He'd tell me, you don't have to go for the meeting. I'll go for the meeting. And he would go and say, I'm here to represent Frank, or I'm here to represent SMAG, and I'm a homosexual man, and he would speak. And he would get harassed. And then he would call me to go and pick him, to go and take him to the hospital when he has been beaten or something, or when he's in prison, and then I'd go and pick him out of prison.
There is a discussion in Uganda about death penalty for being a gay person.
The law was introduced in Parliament of Uganda in 2009. And when it was introduced, unlike other laws, it was appointed to 2 parliamentary committees. This law wanted to criminalize promotion of homosexuality. A person like me who talks about homosexuality, I would go to prison as promoting homosexuality. This law wanted anyone who knows a homosexual person to report them to the authorities. And if you don't do it, you become a criminal, you go to prison for 3 years. That means my mother would have to report me, my brother, my cousins, my relatives, my neighbors would have to report me to the authorities. This law had the worst part of it, where it was introducing death penalty. Lucky enough, the law was slow. It didn't go very fast as it was going. And our parliament closed before they could pass this law. But this law hasn't gone away for good. We've seen it 2 weeks ago before I traveled to Norway. The Speaker of Parliament said she wants to bring back the laws from the Parliament. And now, among the laws that are to be brought back from the 8th Parliament includes the law that is commonly known as Kill the Gays Bill.
What happened to David Kato?
When the law was introduced in Uganda about homosexuality, he was very, very, very outspoken and very vocal to try and stop this law. We got a lot of bad media. So we had a Ugandan newspaper that published our names and faces, and it said, hang them, kill them, they are after our children and after ending our African good values. Kill the homosexuals. His picture appeared on the front, and it had on up his head there was the word "hang them." And then a few days later, he was murdered at his house in the afternoon. Someone walked in his house with a hammer that is used for nailing, to nail things, and he just hit him on the head with this hammer. And he locked him in the house. So they tried to take him to the hospital, but he died on his way to the hospital. I wasn't even in the country, so it was so challenging for me. I wasn't around. He was one of my very close friends, and he was one of my very close comrades that I worked with. He was speaking out for the freedom, liberation, respect of LGBT people in the world. And for me, continuing to do the work, continuing to speak out, continuing the strength, is part of me paying back for his death.
Why is it that there is so much homophobia in Uganda and Africa?
I think the problem we have in Africa is the issue of sex. You know, because I'm a man, they think I'm having sex. I'm having sex, I'm having anal sex. And for them, that is so disgusting and so dangerous and so bad. And the best way to shut you up is to be violent and be very homophobic. And then you'll be quiet. The violence creating all this hatred has been because of religion. Religion that says it is a sin to be homosexual. We had conservatives who came from USA, they came to Uganda, and they even made it worse, that homosexuality is evil. It is from the West. They said it's from our countries to here. So they just justified the myth that homosexuality is Western. It is brought in Uganda by the Western countries, and they're just imposing it on Africa. Before the missionaries came, you know how we used to worship? People would go on the mountain, up on the mountain, and pray to God. People would draw drums, wear backcloth, worshiping, praying. But Ugandans totally forgot about that. They are burning down shrines because they are calling that witchcraft. They are burning away the drums that we used to use to beat and dance, and so we worshipped and sang. That is now witchcraft because it has been demonized again by the missionaries who came to Africa when they first came.
When you told your family and your friends that you were gay, how did your family react?
When I told them, my family thought I was being stubborn. My family thought I wanted attention. My family thought there was something wrong that will go right at some level. I kept thinking I'll change. And then when it got serious, that he's seriously gay, they thought, well, we've heard a lot about therapists and counselors who can change people who are like him. So they took me for counseling. So I thought if you're gay, then you go for therapy, then you become heterosexual. Maybe that is the order of the day. Maybe that is how every person is. Because I knew from school that there are really other homosexual people, because they were all bad names about homosexuality. I totally didn't think I was what people were talking about in school, because I knew I was not with people of the same sex. But the bad names that were associated to homosexuality in my school and the bad words were not me. So when I told my family and I was taken for therapy, I thought, okay, now I'll fit in. All this will go away that I've had for all these years, and I'll fit in. And I was happy with that. If there were people who were speaking out and saying, you know what, homosexuality is okay. I'm a politician, a member of parliament, and I'm gay, and I'm living my life, and it's okay, I wouldn't have gone through all those issues. And for me, when I stopped doing the therapy, and my family gave up and said, you know what, you can live the way you are, I said, well, this is a chance for me to to tell people, you know, you're okay.
How is your hope for sexual minorities in your country, Uganda, for the future?
We might be able to challenge the laws and we'll have freedom, you know, from the books. We'll have freedom from the prisons. But we will not have a lot of freedom from the community. We will not have a lot of freedom from our neighbors who have been indoctrinated with all the hate from the religious leaders.
When a young girl or boy tell people, the friends, hey, I'm gay, how do you want the society to react?
I want us to reach a level whereby we are looking at homosexuality like anything else, you know? I don't want us to be special. That I tell a young lesbian girl or a young gay boy tells the family I'm gay, say, oh, you're so special, we will protect you, we love you. It should be, you're gay. That's okay. It's not anything new. Because heterosexual people have not had to explain to anyone that, you know, I'm heterosexual. You are born, you're baptized, you go to school, you graduate, you get married. So you're gay, you're heterosexual, go through the same. If you want to get married to someone of your same sex, fine. If you want to get married to someone of a different sex, fine. But if someone tells you I'm gay, you say, I'm heterosexual. Getting that is going to take us a long time. And that is what we should aim at doing. And I think it's very important, honestly, for very many gay and lesbian people to be out of the closet. You don't have to be political and vocal about it and say we need our rights, we need respect, we need support. It is very difficult for a family that has not met a homosexual person within their family to understand homosexuality. Because in Uganda, they say we are being paid to be homosexuals. They say we are taught by white people. So now I'm away from my country, people think I'm learning to be more of a homosexual.